Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for holding this hearing today. Dr. Richmond, thank you for testifying today. As you know, we're facing a serious microchip shortage all across the country, the planet, in fact. At the same time, China is working very hard to outcompete American leadership in microchip research and development. To address these challenges, I worked with Republicans and Democrats to negotiate a $52 billion plan to boost American microchip manufacturing. This plan passed both the Senate and the House and is headed to conference, which is a good thing. But I believe we have to do more, including within DOE. We must ensure that the next generation of microchips are designed and manufactured right here in the United States, not somewhere else. And if anyone can engineer a solution to the challenge of continuing to fit more circuits on a chip, I'm confident that it's going to be American scientists and American engineers. And I understand that DOE national laboratories have existing microelectronics research programs, but they do not have explicit authorization from Congress, and I'm working on a bill to fix that. My bill would also promote workforce training and technology transfer programs at DOE. I encourage the administration to support my bill once it's introduced. Dr. Richmond, how could congressional authorization for microelectronics research and development programs at the Department of Energy support and accelerate work already being done by the department?
Well, thank you, Senator, for that question, because that's a biggie, and that's an important one, and it is urgent. It is urgent. You know, for decades, the Department of Energy has been on the leading edge of microelectronics, both as a consumer as well as an engine of scientific discovery in this area. So, and DOE supports this robust research portfolio that on issues at their scientific facilities, as well as chemical, physical, mathematical, computers, science, all of these areas in modeling and simulations. We've been on the forefront there. So, but we need to have more funding in order to make this happen. So, when you talk about in areas of, because it's the whole range, it's material science, it's chemistry, it's processing, it's fabrication, and it goes all the way from the very fundamental research to actually putting it in your computer or whatever, or your phone or whatever it is. And that's what the laboratories have in place right now. It's a matter of being able to fuel that with more funding, but smart funding that really goes after the key issues that we have to get at in order to pack more stuff on that chip. But you know, there's something that is so important to understand with regards to microelectronics, and you probably understand this, and that is they're no longer microelectronics like micron size, they're nano electronics, right? And so you're talking about, you know, if you're going to put this roadmap on your chip, you know, and pack stuff in there, but you got to be working on this teeny tiny scale. So how are you going to do How are you going to do etching? How are you going to do all of this if you don't have the tools to be able to figure out whether you're doing it and what it looks like after you did it? And so what's really cool about in this particular areas is our big light source facilities, for example. They're able to see what your etch looked like. They're able to then, and so the companies go in and can test some procedure in order to do their chip. Then they can go to the facility, check out what happened, and go back and forth with the facility. There's no place else that you can do that but at the DOE labs. And so, but in this case, it just means being able to have more collaborative efforts with industry, because having a consortia of industry would work really well that way. And so beefing that up too, because they're coming in to use the facilities and having staffing to be able to help them with it. So there's just a lot of stuff going on for test beds as well as taking it all the way. It's an
Well, yeah, we want to fix that, and we want to make sure that we're not going to be testing our chips over in China as well.
You bet.
And, I mean, I don't think folks realize this, but the chip in this phone, it's a square centimeter, 2.5 billion transistors on it, 2.5 billion. We need to get that to 5 billion, but it needs to be made here in the United States, not somewhere else, and that's why the CHIPS Act and, the legislation just making us more competitive with China is going to go a long way to bringing a lot of this manufacturing capability back to the United States. We've got to get this across the finish line. We've got TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, building right now a fabrication facility in Arizona, Intel Building 2. are going to be underway soon, and this is going to help us get back towards, might not get us the whole way, but we went from 40% of chip production, global supply of chips that we manufacture down to about 12% today. We've got to reverse that. But more than that, we've got to be making the best chips in the world.
And we've got to be on the innovation front in terms of the next stage. What is the next stage, and can we beat everybody else to it? And what does concern me is that in China, you have all these, so we have our laboratories, and they're aging, right? And we need the infrastructure to build them up because China's building all new laboratories modeled after ours, including our light sources and other facilities, and they're all going to be brand new. So it's going to take a bit to build it, but you know, we have to be competitive. Our capabilities in our laboratories have to be competitive, stay competitive in order to be ahead all the time.
And then, Dr. Richmond, then we need the scientists and engineers to work in these facilities. So we need to encourage STEM education starting at a very young age and help young people get the education they need for these good paying jobs.
Absolutely true, but we need to do something else too. And that is that we need to make sure that that going into graduate programs, they can afford to go to graduate school. So right now, our graduate stipends that we offer are basically minimum wage. I just saw Target saying it's going to pay $25 an hour to work at Target. That's more than we're paying our graduate students in their 20s, doing the best research in the world. And we're asking them to work 80 hours a week, making basically minimum wage. We have to get those stipends through all agencies up to at least $45K a year. We have to do that. And it's particularly important for our underrepresented minority students because a lot of times they come to graduate school with debt. And they can't afford to stay in graduate school. The retention rate is much lower for them, and for women too. And so we have to figure out how to keep them in there, but also pay them a decent wage so that they can spend their 20s maybe saving a little bit of money, or maybe having a couple of kids too, like normal in your 20s, because you can afford to do that. So I'm just passionate about that issue too, because I think we just can't afford to do this anymore.
Well, thank you. And I yield back the 2 minutes extra I took.
Thank you very much.